So the quality of the racing has been fantastic. If you put aside the fact that we've had world leads and just unbelievable breakthroughs, yeah, that's special. That's almost a given when you get this many Ethiopians and guests lined up. But the we had breakthroughs in that last one. People just getting inspired, living their dream, hanging on with the lead group, and then suddenly feeling good on the last lap and maybe going to Tokyo. So there's Kajelcha on the outside, world silver in the 10,000 metres in Doha, fourth in the London World Championships. He set a world indoor record for the mile at 3:47, world ranked number three. Outside him, Gebrewet, Rio bronze medalist at 5,000 metres. The seeded runners are the first ones that we're seeing here. So Selemon Barega, also a world 5,000 metre silver medalist. A surprise, perhaps, to see him running at 10,000 in the trials. Tamarit Tola, the Olympic bronze medalist, fifth in the candidates race for this event. These are just the first five that we're seeing here. What an amazing lineup. There's Richard Dalmer of Netherlands, who'll be around. Toumay is an athlete that you may not have heard of, but he's world ranked number 25. So they are the top deck runners on the outer deck of this double-decker start. This should be a classic. The men's 10,000 metres trials for Tokyo. Yeah, they've gone for the wrong curve. Stand up, gentlemen. It's the nice big sweeping curve, not the dotted one, fellow. Look, see where he's sweeping? Follow the track jokes. No, stand back now. Stand back now. You've blown it once. Wait for the starter. Wait, get back off the line, mate. Get back off the line. Foot back. Get off the line. Get off. That's it. They'll be showing cards to them in a minute. They're eager to get away. It just needs to be on the right line. It's quite a sharp curve because it needs to take them inside the cones of the outside deck. So they'll all run exactly 10,000 metres, but well done, marksman. Good work. This time, yeah, that's the line. That's the line. Now get your toes behind it. Away we go. That doesn't count as a false start, I don't think. That was a technicality because double-decker starts aren't the norm for most meetings around the circuit. So Richard Dalmer, you can see him on the outside there, the tall Dutchman in the black kit. He will be looking to latch onto the wave lights for the Olympic standard. So you can see he's not looking to get in front. He's just looking to slot in with the green lights for those from all nationalities who are looking for 27:28. So we've seen ferocious speed in the previous races. This is 27 minutes of running, so it starts off a little bit more sedately compared to what we have been seeing, but nonetheless, you can expect the world ranking list, the world top 10, to take a bit of a battering off the back of this race. These are beautiful conditions in Hengelo. So that Olympic qualifying mark is 27:28. I wonder, some of those kickers, will they just try and hang? There was no need. If you've got the fastest finish in the race, you just need to stay in touch. The white lights are the Olympic qualifying mark. That's where Dalma has latched on. So I'm surprised nobody is surging away from him, but it is early days yet. This is a familiar hunting ground for athletes like Hagos Gebrewet. His personal best of 26:48 was set here. This is surprising. No takers for Dalma. Bit cagey, this one. I wonder if they got a bit flummoxed by that falsy start. But we've seen every race go off in full cry, except this one. Plenty of time for that to be made up, but it's slightly unusual. I think it surprised Dalma as well. So this is 1 kilometre as they come through the 200-metre point here, 2:45 or thereabouts. Yeah, and they're being pointed, go with the pacemaker. He knows what he's doing. So Dalma is very familiar with this track and this setup of wave-like technology. It's a Dutch concept largely. Bram Som and Jos Hermans have created it, marketed it, and made it popular in athletics. It's great for spectators. I'm not always sure if you're in a big group when your eye line is at shoulder level whether you can actually spot those lights down at curb level. It's not where you're looking. It's brilliant for spectators to check the pace at which races are being run visually. And it's good for pacemakers when they're out on their own. But if you're in a group, you're not looking down at foot level. Well, suddenly this has opened up. You can see Dalma's gone back to 7th or 8th place. We're on 27:11 pace now with Tola. Tamarit Tola, the Olympic bronze medalist at 10,000 metres. He's got a best of 26:57. He was silver medalist in the World Championship Marathon in London 2017. So a whole range of distances, and he will favour play into his strength by making it a long run for home. Bellehu, world ranked number 6th, now taking up the running. He's run 26:53. He started his campaign for Olympic selection back in the candidates race, that midwinter, in northern terms, January race in Addis Ababa. He was second in that. And his surge has brought it back round to 26:56 pace. So you can see, gauge it on Richard Dalma, who's still running even pace, but much further back now. It's been quite an erratic series of laps. And a gap being opened up at the front. Fifth in the World Championships in 2019. He will want to be going to another global championship. Will hip 20, Adamlak Bellehu. The last 3 laps have been 65, 64, 63. So you can see the damage that's done. Everybody likes to run long distances at an even pace. That's the most efficient way of running and the most economical. That hasn't been the case these last 3 laps. So although he's got hip 20, that's Selemon Barega. Rio bronze medalist at 5,000 metres. Relatively untried at 10,000 metres, certainly against this level of opposition. But he's put in a few testers. Mateku is the athlete in 2nd place. He's the Kenyan. I think he ran in the Antrim half marathon back in the autumn in Great Britain. So again, coming down to 10,000 metres on the track from a completely different starting point to his winter. That was a 60-second lap. That's going to be hurting some of these guys. Now back down to, it was a 60 followed by a 63, just to bring it up to date. So we've had 65, 64, 63, 60, 63. Barega has got a lot less experience at this distance compared to those around him. And again, you know, question marks around why would one of the best 5,000 metre runners in the world be running 10,000 metres at the trial? Is it because he wants to race this distance at the Olympics? Is he just trying to get more strings to his bow? Kajelcha, the tall figure behind him, equally has moved up to 10, but has got the world indoor record at the mile. So we've got, in the first 4 runners, we've got a half marathoner and a world mile record holder. We're around 26:38 pace with 18 laps to go. That slipped to a 65. You can see why, because Barega moved to one side and just invited somebody else to take a turn at the wheel. I mean, this what a world-class group, but what a bold run for home being made here by the Kenyan. Of course, they will know he's Kenyan, so he forms no part of the Ethiopian selection process. But there is a rivalry there that they'll want to tap into. But I think this has gone back to about 60 seconds for this lap. He's part of the race as well. I mean, he may be trying to qualify for Kenya, but he went off the same starting gun. Perhaps it was that 65-second lap which prompted him into action. He's got that very high, loose arm action. Kajelcha taking up the running, recognising that this is a serious attack from the Kenyan. Huge stride, really tall man. Part of that Oregon Project group, as Sifan Hassan was. So Mateko of Kenya, then a whole host of Ethiopians. We're still only 9 minutes in to a 26-minute race. We're on 26:34 pace for the leader. This is the biggest field of the day with, I think it's 23 reduced down to 22. So the start list numbers that I have been whittled down by 1, and that's why the hip numbers were different than the ones I've got on my sheet in front of me. This is a big gap. This is going to be interesting, isn't it, over the second half of the race, because I think he's gambling here. He's right on the green lights. Well, look at that. That's extending that gap. Maybe now up to about 30 meters. The green and blue lights. I think Kajelcha has perhaps decided not to chase and to tuck back in with the chasing group. It was a 62-second lap. Barega now deciding that perhaps he should have a go at closing the gap to the leader. There's Richard Dalmer ahead of the white lights. So all of those athletes just immediately behind him are inside Olympic qualifying schedule. 1 or 2 finding it a bit hot going and stepping off. Very languid, relaxed action, isn't it? Let's see. It was 40 meters. It's opening up slightly, but that's a big group that have got him in their sights. You can see he's right on the green wave lights. 62 was the last full lap we had. He's on 26:31 pace. But this young man's main claim to fame was the half marathon he ran in the autumn. There's 7 in that group behind him. 64-second lap, so he is slowing down slightly. That gap isn't increasing, it's just maintaining, and we've still got more than half of the race to go. So this could be hare and tortoise stuff now. The hunter and the hunted. Although he looks comfortable, the stopwatch says otherwise, and he is just starting to roll the shoulders a little bit. 11 laps gone, 14 laps to go. The last athletes of the day will be in the warm-up area prior to going into the call room. That's the women's 10,000 metres. Still on 26:34 pace for the leader. More than half the field inside Olympic qualifying time, and a few of them do need it. That's 27:28. You can see he's drifting behind the green and blue lights now, so he is toiling a bit. Barega now up on his toes. 5,000 metres silver medal. and he's running quicker than he did at the FBK Games in 2019. Now let's see how that gap is looking. I think he's maybe on borrowed time there. Clears his nostrils. Oh, he's been caught. Look at that. They're just reeling him in like a fish on a fishing rod. Wow, that gap was huge. I think his time at the front is sadly over. It was a bold move. We see it in cycling, don't we? We don't see it quite as often in long track races where somebody takes a lead like that and then gets neutralised so quickly by a peloton that's got some of the greatest runners in the world. Worku's in there, Barega's in there, Kujelcha's in there. Mateko is still in there in the white singlet, the Kenyan. But he must realise that they have just hunted him down there. Well, having got behind him, they're now using him as a pacemaker. But that's if he's struggling. Yeah, Barega's identified that. I think that will be a slower lap. They've drifted out to 26:39 pace. That's not exactly dawdling, is it? That will be fastest time in the world and one of the fastest times. It's the top one. Barega and Kujelcha. I think the Kenyan, unless he can gather himself, will find himself drifting back through that pack over the next 2 or 3 laps. It's a long way to go in front for Barega. He'll be very conscious of the closing speed that Kujelcha holds. He'll also be conscious that he needs to break up that chasing group, otherwise he won't be going to the Olympics, qualifying time or not. He needs to really be top 2. Barega, Kujelcha, Matejk, Worku, Berihu, Aragawi and Hagos Gebrewot in the orange at the back there are that leading group. That was a 66 seconds for that last lap. So it's getting a little bit cagey again. Very erratic. If you looked at the lap times on a tracer, it'd be like a mountain range. The fluctuation has been anything up to 4 seconds, 5 seconds. So there's some real experience in that group. Experience of championships, experience of running quick times, experience of Hengelo, and experience of Olympic Games and getting on the podium at Olympic Games. Barega doing a lot of looking around. I think he's a reluctant leader. The pacing is mostly being done by Richard Daumer, much further back where the white lights are for the Olympic qualifying. In fact, he's probably gone now because he was only going to halfway. The last two laps have been in 66 seconds, so it's notably steadied up. (26:47) is the projected finishing time. We've got that group of 6. The Kenyan Daniel Mateko has rallied. Gebrewot is lurking at the back there. He's a wily old competitor. I seem to remember a race that he was in one time where there was a miscount of the number of laps. And Kujelcha was in the incident where as he fell, he grabbed at somebody else's shorts. They've all had what happened next moments in the sport, but they're all very, very accomplished competitors. And they all close quickly as well. Tadesse Worku is under 20, the leader, junior athlete. So I'm sure he's punching his ticket for World Juniors in Kenya in August. But, well, unless this is a last-ditch attempt for him before he drifts off the pace. It was 69 seconds, so it slowed down quite a lot. That's enabled the junior athlete to do that, Tadesse Worku. And he's moving to one side, suggesting he's not completely comfortable. A few gestures, bit of Amharic. So as we look at that group, world class though they are, half of them will not be going to the Olympic Games, or up to half of them will not be going to the Olympic Games, and up to 3 will. Don't forget, we've got 2 nationalities with the Kenyan Mateko in the white singlet. That was a 67-second lap, so it's revived again. Barega seems to be the man controlling this. If he decides he wants it a bit quicker, that's what happens. And the net effect is that somebody goes out the back door each time. It's very uneconomical, but he's a man full of confidence. Wow, look at this. Look at this. 18 minutes into the race. I don't think any of us were expecting that. It's almost like an impatience, isn't it? I've had enough of these 69, 67-second laps. Hold my beer, here I go. But they can still see him. They're running evenly behind him. And there is still... Yeah, it seems to have disposed of Mateko at the back of the group. But Kajelcha is right there again. And he closed that economically with that huge stride. 62-second lap, and we're on 26.54 as a projection. And the athletes going to the Olympic Games are in that picture, but who? Aragawi, third in the World Juniors. Hagos Gebriwet in the orange. It looks like it's slowed again. Has anybody heard of fartlek, where you do 1 lap fast, 1 lap slow? That's what we're seeing here. It's enabled the Kenyan, Mateko, to come. Why not take the lead again, mate? Be my guest. Away he goes. It's actually Hagos Gebriwet who takes the lead with... these are astonishingly varied laps that they're putting in. It's not giving anybody else a chance to close because they're a long way behind the second group. Don't forget they're operating at 27-28 pace for Olympic qualifying. I wonder if Barega has damaged himself a little bit this time because he's conspicuously off the pace this time, 5th out of 6th in that group. So that impetuous surge, I hope it hasn't cost him a place on the road to Tokyo. He's a class athlete. I'm sure he can get back on this, but it's not looking brilliant for him at the moment. Worku, the junior. Tadesse Worku, the under-20, bossing it at the front with some of the greatest athletes of all time behind him. Kajelcha, Gebriwet, Barega. Those are the top 3 seeds, and they're in 3rd, 5th and 6th as we look at that group. Gebriwet nearly stumbled on the curb with the wave light in it. Beyond the 20-minute point now. So only just over 6 minutes of running to go. Kajelcha has a look over his shoulder. He's not too worried about the ones in front. The Kenyan won't count in the selection. It's a junior up front. He's keeping his eye on Gebriwet and Barega. Where are they? What's Barega got up his sleeve next? Is it another surge? He'll be coming from a long way back if he does. 2 lapped athletes appearing up ahead of them. Wow, this is an unusual race. The man who's been putting the surges in has damaged nobody except perhaps himself at the moment. Barega perhaps giving himself a lap to settle, a lap or 2 to settle. 1 Kenyan and those that group of Ethiopians, but they can't all go to Tokyo. It's 3 to go. They're going to get the Olympic qualifying mark, no question. The Federation has made no commitment to selecting even winners, but you would think in a race of this calibre, this close to the Games, top 2 would certainly be in their thinking, and possibly top 3. But there are 5 Ethiopians, so 2 of them definitely will not be going to Tokyo. So there's your triumph and disaster all in the one group as we approach 22 minutes. We're on pace now for 27.01, so it has slowed. We're still almost 30 seconds inside Olympic qualifying. It's still the junior, Worku, leading them round. But the others, it feels like they're using him. They're sitting on him. We saw in the women's 5,000, it came down to that last lap and a half burn up. And this has got all those hallmarks as well. Barega, I think, has come through any bad patch that he may have had. Gebriwet hasn't led for a single step of the way. He's at the back there in the orange. I don't remember seeing a sprint involving Barega and Kejelcha. So, I mean, your money would go on the world mile record holder, Kejelcha, but stranger things have happened. Barega isn't a slouch either, nor is Gebriwet. I mean, this if it now gets a bit cagey round to the closing stages, those three guys may well be the Ethiopian team. But there's three others looking to make their mark on this race and have gone way beyond anything we might previously have expected. Stephen Kissa is on target for the qualifier for Uganda. That was the big story for that. Really needs to run under the 27:22 that was run by Abdallah Mande of Uganda. So the athletes being lapped are still running decent times. We've got barely 3 minutes of racing left. So positioning is crucial. If somebody springs it from the front with a long run for home, you're giving yourself 2 or 3 seconds to react if you're too far back. It was a 66-second lap. So they're now on schedule for 27:02. Still Virginia leading, still a 6-man game, still 5 Ethiopians and 1 Kenyan. Still only 3 that can be picked for Ethiopia for the Games. And this is a proud event over the years, going way back to the 1960s. Worku, Kejelcha. Berihu Aragawi was 3rd in the World Juniors in 2018. He's the other athlete in that group. I think the team management on the infield are getting very excited and agitated about this. 3 laps to go. Mateko, the Kenyan, going through another bad patch at the back of that group, trying to stay in contention. Still operating right on 27-minute pace. I'm sure they'll go through that because the battle and the closing speed as Barega moves out almost to lane 3 to come round the outside. This is the 3rd coming of Barega. But if he surges this time, he has to mean it. There's too little time to go. Gebriwet in the orange, first time he's even touched the front of the race, and it's the big 3 now getting away. Gebriwet, Barega and Kejelcha. There is some super sprinting in those legs. They know what they're doing here. It is 2 laps to go. This could be the team, but they won't want to risk that. They will want the win. Down the back straight for the final time. Barega moving wide, poised. Kejelcha still looking over his shoulder. There's no danger there now. Kejelcha moving out wide, but Barega has got those sprinting arms going. The lap runners need to be careful here because this could have an influence on the race, but it is Barega. It's not decisive yet. Kejelcha is still there. The head is pecking. Gebriwet in between the pair of them. Kejelcha winding it up for the last 100 metres. Who's got this one? It is still Barega, but Kejelcha coming round the outside. It's going right to the wire. Barega holding. Kejelcha with one last attack, but it is going to be Barega who takes it. Kejelcha 2nd and Gebriwet 3rd. And I think that will be the trio for Tokyo. Watch out, world. And we're keeping an eye on the white light that is the Olympic qualifying distance. It is 27:28 we're looking for. The clock has obviously stopped on the winner's time there. These 2 guys need to be careful not to keep going across the line because they'll be activating the sprint finish, the photo finish. The last lap was 51 seconds. 51 seconds to go under 27. So I think we've gone, I'm looking at the clock down there, I think we're on 27:43. So any other Olympic qualifiers are already through the line. Just a couple of finishers still out on the track round to the 200-metre point. What a great race. And well done, Barega, because he had a couple of flourishes, much as we saw in the women's 5,000 metres, where it looked like it was for real, and then he dropped back, and that disrupted rhythm seem to have affected him for quite a number of laps, and then he finally came good on the last lap. He knew what he was up against. There's some wily old campaigners and some real sprinting power, but surely the selectors will pick those three. So we still have one race to go. Have we saved the best till last? It's a very eagerly awaited women's 10,000 metres. We'll bring you the formal results of that men's 10,000 very shortly. And it will be of interest to see just how many nations and how many individual runners made it under the Olympic qualifying mark of 27:28.00. So those are the ones we knew. Look at that, 0.2 of a second after 25 laps of racing. Surely Barega and Kajelcha will be going to Tokyo. And surely they'll be joined by Hagos Gebriwet. Did I mistakenly call Gebriwet as Aragawi? I do beg your pardon if I have. Yeah, Gebriwet given fourth there behind Aragawi. And we're still not at 27 minutes there with our first 5 finishers. Brilliant run by Worku, under 20 athletes. Now, when that scrolls forward to 27:28, let's see if one or two of those athletes from Uganda and elsewhere, with the help of Richard Dalma. That's a qualifier for Mateko in 27:03. Don't know how finalised the Kenyan team is yet, but that won't have done his prospects any harm at all. So it's been a perfect evening for racing. We've had 9 races out of 10. Welcome if you're just joining of the Ethiopian trials from Hengelo. The women are out on the track for the final race of the night, the women's 10,000 metres. Just looking at the scrolling caption on that men's 10,000 metres, because we haven't yet got to the Olympic qualifying cut-off, the automatic qualifier of 20. There we are, Kissa did it just by just over a second for Uganda, so he will also be at the games. I don't think there'll be anybody else inside that automatic Olympic qualifying time. Interesting athlete in that lineup is Francine Niyonsaba of Burundi. She was a medalist in Rio at 800 metres.